Welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be testing some budget art supplies. These are all from Kmart in Australia. There are 2 sketchbooks and a graphite set. Now let's get started with the graphite set. This set was $9 Australian. It comes in a wooden box, but the wooden box is kind of like a recycled wood. It's very thin, but it's actually still really nice that it's in this box. Okay. Inside this we have 3 charcoal pencils, not sharpened. 4 graphite pencils. The charcoal pencils are 2B, 4B, 6B, and the graphite pencils are HB, 2B, 4B, 6B. We also have a sharpener. We have a kneadable eraser. We have a normal eraser. 2 blending stumps, 3 different charcoals, soft, medium, and hard. We also have some graphite from B, HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8, and then we have the sandpaper block. So from very much a budget set, I think this is a very nice presentation. I won't know until we get into it if they actually work well, but I've never really found a graphite pencil to be a bad pencil. I also like the box. Like, it's a little bit rough. There's parts of the wood coming up, but I kind of like that if you wanted to, you could actually paint this and actually make it look something different. I'm very happy with it. It's a really nice box. Okay, let's get into the sketchbooks. It's interesting because the cheapest sketchbook, this was $2 and this was $5. And this one has a paper weight of 120 GSM. And this one is actually only 110 GSM with 80 pages and 120 pages. So technically, this smaller one is actually better value than the larger one. The 120 GSM book, it's got 120 pages, it's A5 in size, it's a white paper, spiral bound. Obviously you can lay it flat. Paper does feel thin. It's got a small amount of texture. I can feel the texture, but I can't see the texture. The black book, it has a very smooth, almost plasticky feel, and yet at the same time it's a little bit textured. I like this book because it comes with the elastic, so you can close it. Comes with a spot for a pen or a pencil, and it also has the ribbon, so you can keep your place. Right off the bat, the first page doesn't really open, it's glued shut, but other than that I can actually lay these pages quite flat. Other than that first page, the color of the paper is more of an ivory. The first book is more white. The paper actually feels thicker, but I think it's a drier paper, so I feel like it's a misconception that it actually is thicker. It just feels thicker. This one feels much smoother. This one feels more rigid. I think the tooth is making it feel like it's actually more dense paper when it actually in reality is not. I like this book. It just feels like a fairly professional book. It just looks beautiful. It's really nice. So we're gonna test both books out. We're gonna test the pencils out. Let's get to the swatches, and maybe I'll do swatches in this book. See what we can get with this. This kneadable eraser is very sticky. It's kind of a bit weird. It's almost like it's very dry when you take it out though, because it breaks apart really crumbly. Like, this is an old one, but it's been used a lot and it still works really well, and the color's so different. Let's see how it goes. It's definitely picking that up. It's funny because it's picking up the paper, but because the eraser's dirty, it's actually also leaving new marks, which it really shouldn't do. Let's see my standard one. This one doesn't do that. Let's also try this. Old. New. It took me a few more swipes to get the same kind of color removal, but it does work. Standard white eraser, a little bit thin. It erases those fairly well. Less so on the charcoal, but even the Faber-Castell will do similar on the charcoal. Faber-Castell did a little bit better, but I would say that this eraser is still pretty much a win. I don't like the kneadable eraser. Considering these are very cheap, I'd rather I'd rather this one over the Kmart one. The Kmart one I feel like it's unusable now, it's dirty, while this one's been used for a long time and you can't even tell. And also, on all of this, so I really like the pencils in both, the graphite and the charcoal pencils. I found they gave us great colour, you were able to get some darkness and some lightness. They gave what you'd expect from these HB to 6B range. I don't like the sticks, but I'm not someone that's used the sticks. I felt that the pencils gave us much darker colours. The sticks were a little bit lighter. I found them harder to use. Obviously the sticks are great for doing coverage like this, but even this is giving me lines at the two ends, and it's not getting as dark. So even though this would be great for giving me a lot of coverage, it's very light because I can't get the weight. So the pencil is definitely a win. So this is just not my thing. Okay, now let's try the blending stump. Let's just try it here. Does its thing. It blends. I mean, it's a piece of paper. These are the lowest technology you can possibly get in art supplies. So this is no different to any other one. It's very thin. It won't have a lot of paper in it. You'll use it up pretty quickly, but it's fine. And if you want to clean it, you can just do this and it will clean it off. Or you can use the sandpaper block. As far as the accessories, sharpener, I wouldn't use that one. Again, the needle eraser, I would not use this one. It's not great, but you know, it does kind of its job. Its job is to lighten things. It does take some off, but it's not a great kneadable eraser. Again, these are only a couple dollars and they last forever, and it's so much bigger as well. So this, I'd rather have a, I think, Faber-Castell kneadable eraser. It's a lot better than the one in the pack. This was okay, did its job. I have no issues with it. Let's start with the first sketchbook, shall we? There is the sketch shoes and the pencils with the $2 sketchbook. I was able to do really what I wanted with it. I did find when I tried to smudge the HB pencil a little bit, I had a bit of lines, but it's also the harder of the pencils. I don't draw a lot of people, so, you know, bear with me for this. It probably looks really bad, but, you know, it works. The tortillon, didn't really like it. It's so thin that it bent in half a few times, but it also did its job. If you didn't like these or you wanted new ones, they're very cheap to replace. So that is the $2 book. I don't think you could really argue that that's bad. It worked perfectly for these products. It worked perfectly for the charcoal pencils and for the graphite pencils. It's quite nice, and I love that you can get these really dark blacks with the charcoal. You can just get these really strong colors. How gorgeous is that, you know? Now let's try the other book out. Here are my two sketches. This one I use mainly, I think I just used the graphite pencils, and I liked it because the 4B, I was able to actually get this really nice gradient by not pushing too hard, or I could get nice thick colors and get the really dark colors that's up here and around here. Yeah, I really like the graphite pencils, they're really nice. This one, I used a bit of everything, as you saw. My favorite thing was the charcoals and the dark blacks. I could get really strong colors. I liked that, I enjoyed it, got some nice smudging. I love to use these when they're already dirty like this, because it allows me to just, instead of using the actual pencil, I can actually get some of these great smudges here without having to actually use the pencil to actually mark a line. So I get these really beautiful smudges, and I like that. So that was great for that. As far as the overall set goes, I like the pencils. They're really good. I've never found an issue with cheap or expensive graphite pencils. I find they're all the same. I think the important thing is that you can get your different values, and these definitely did have different values. For the softer the pencil, like the 6B was definitely darker than the HB, so that was exactly as you'd expect. The charcoal pencils were quite nice other than the breakage, but they would be a soft lead in there just because it's charcoal, so we kind of can expect that, but I don't have a sharpener that can actually handle them correctly, which is not great. But I got some really beautiful values with them. As I've said before, I wasn't a fan of the kneadable eraser. You can buy those quite cheaply though if you really like it. Kneadable erasers are so good to have, and this is just not a good one. It's tacky, it's weird, it's not nice. It actually created new smudges on my paper, so it wasn't really doing its job. So I would say that's trash. The erase was good. Tortillians, you know, they did their job. I'm not very experienced with the sticks, as I've already said, so I didn't really get a lot of use out of them. I found them quite hard to use. They're very, because they're square, they're very sharp. I didn't like that even if I tried to just use the actual whole block to actually smudge a whole area at once, which I think is what they're probably great for. The ends were actually really dominant, and the middles were actually quite soft. I think if you actually soften the edges and just kind of got rid of the actual squareness of the pencil, that would actually be better. For a $9 set, I think this is actually still worth its value. To get an equivalent set with these kind of pencils would be a little bit more money, maybe double or triple the price depending on the brand. So I'm really happy about it, and I get to try these for the first time. I think once I've had a bit more experience with these will be fine, but for me, the value is here. The eraser, like I said, is good. It's a beautiful set. It's a nice set. You can put it in a bag. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with my $5 sketchbook. It's nice. It's nice paper. The $2 sketchbook, I mean, not the world's best sketch, but you know, it did its job. It allowed me to layer, allowed me to blend. I'm happy with that, so that's fantastic. So that is my overall Kmart review. For $17 worth of supplies, I think I did really well. I don't think you can go too wrong with these. Sure, this paper is not the best paper. When I erased things, the paper actually bent a little bit, bent up, but for just quick sketches, for just doing what I did, this is perfect, you know. I'm not trying to paint the Mona Lisa on it, which you wouldn't do for this, but it does its job if you just want to do some nice sketches, and I think you can't go wrong. Thank you for watching today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like the content, and I will see you next time. Bye.